Hi friends, do you want to buy a home and it just seems that that dream is so far away? Well, stick with me today. I have some great tips for you on buying homes and some very important information that I'd like to share with you on housing affordability and the answer to how much does it really cost to buy a home in the Lower Mainland and the Fraser Valley. Plus, if you watch until the end, I have 3 very special free offers for you. When it comes to how much home someone can realistically afford, if you get this wrong, it can end up causing a lot of stress in your life and, more importantly, in your relationships. And that's why I want to go through this with you today so that you can figure out how much your new home will cost, not only up front, but also your continuing costs. How affordable is it to live in the home that you've just bought? So let's get started, okay? The first thing you're going to have to consider, of course, is your down payment. I would suggest that you get that money that you've set aside for your down payment in your account sooner than later, because this shows your lender stability. And to plan on your deposit, which is payable after you remove subjects, of about 5% of your purchase price. So if you're buying an $800,000 home, 5% would come out to about $40,000. Now, this serves 2 purposes. One, it shows your financial solvency to the bank, but it also shows it to your seller, which really helps when it comes to qualifying for your mortgage with your bank. And number 2, it serves as a solid incentive to the seller to take your offer more seriously. And if you're coming up against multiple offers, every little bit helps. And as a buyer, if you can show the seller that you are serious and that you have your financial house in order, it goes a long way to winning out in multiple offer situations. Because let's be honest, you're going to have to pay that 5% down on the closing anyways, so why not just put it out front on your subject removal, if it helps you get the house that you want. Next, we have your mortgage. There are 2 main types of mortgages. There's the fixed rate and the adjustable rate mortgage, or an ARM. Fixed rate, the rate stays the same over the term of your loan, and usually, you can go anywhere that you want, but usually most people will take a 5-year term. And then there's an adjustable rate mortgage, an ARM. These are a little bit more complicated, but quite honestly, because interest rates are so low right now, adjustable rate mortgages are really being chosen less and less and less right now, because it just makes sense with interest rates being so low right now to lock it in for the lowest rate that you can. The next step is to determine whether you need mortgage insurance or not. Typically, you will need mortgage insurance if you have less than 20% down for your down payment. But if you have less than 20% and you need mortgage insurance, it does add to your monthly mortgage payment. Instead of saying, hey, maybe you have an $1,800 monthly mortgage payment, you might end up actually being closer to $1,900 a month. So when you do your calculations, that's something you definitely want to consider. Then we need to determine if you need to pay the property transfer tax. If this is the first time that you're buying a home, you're most likely able to get away from this with an exemption. But there are some conditions to that. So please check with your bank, your mortgage broker, or your realtor to see if you qualify for an exemption from the property transfer tax. Because the property transfer tax is quite expensive and it is payable on your closing date. And of course, there are other costs that you need to worry about. And quite honestly, this is where people can get themselves in trouble, underestimating just how much their closing costs will be. You might look at things and say, well, I've got 5% saved for my down payment on the house, and you want to spend $500,000, and you feel like, wow, $25,000 is a lot of money. Well, it's not. There's a lot of other things that you need to consider as well. So you want a buffer so that nothing comes as a surprise and you're able to close and get to the home that you want. So during the subject removal period, I strongly recommend that you hire a really good home inspector. There are some things like moisture in behind the walls that you cannot see with just a visual inspection. And this is something that could haunt you later on down the road if you don't catch it. Most home inspections nowadays cost between $400 to $700 depending on what type of home and the size of the home. But Good news, as a bonus of being my client, if you want to use my services to purchase a home anywhere in the Lower Mainland or the Fraser Valley, I will pay for your home inspection on completion, so that's just one less bill to worry about. On closing, you also have to worry about hiring a notary or a lawyer to help you with closing and with completion. I would count on anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500. Again, this varies between firms and also does vary depending on the type of property that you're buying, and there's other factors as well. Then you also have to consider the property taxes. Generally what happens is they look at your occupancy for the year. So if you purchase a home in January, you're going to have a full year's worth of property taxes to worry about. But if you buy in October or November, you only have to worry about 1 or 2 months worth. So when you buy actually has an effect on how much of your property taxes you're going to have to pay. So again, ask your realtor, what are the property taxes? Is it $2,500 a year? Is it $5,000 a year? Sometimes that's going to really affect how much money you need to find. And oftentimes you have to pay the interest from the time that you buy the property until the first of the next month before the interest starts to get calculated toward your monthly payment. So note, not all of these fees that I've gone through are going to be charged every single time someone purchases a home, but these are the most common, so I want to bring these out for you. And it's definitely important to ask your mortgage broker, your bank, or your realtor, because every person's situation is different. And of course, after you close on the home and you're already in it, there's the continuing costs, and the biggest one is BC Hydro. It's the one everybody tends to forget. But the first thing you should be asking the seller's realtor is how much the average BC Hydro bill is. You can ask that question, and you need to factor that into your budget. You don't want to set yourself up for that first month's bill shock because you forgot to ask or you didn't know to ask. And also ask, what's the average bill in the winter month? If you're buying strata, you need to know if there's any assessments coming up. Does the roof need to be worked on? Is there any damages that need to be addressed? Because all of this adds up. And sometimes these things that are being discussed are behind closed doors. They may not necessarily be in the minutes, or they may not be in a disclosure. So again, a seller's realtor has a duty to disclose when asked directly a question. The seller doesn't have a duty to disclose if you don't ask, because the seller's realtor is acting in the best interest of the seller, the person who hired him. So he's not going to be saying all the negative things that you want to hear and that you need to hear. So you need to ask, or have your realtor ask. This can be a little overwhelming to figure all these things out because there's so much to purchasing a home. That's why it's good to have an experienced realtor. If you go online and you look things up, the numbers that you're going to get are going to be entirely different than if you go to your realtor or your mortgage broker and try and figure them out, because you have a very unique situation. Every person has a unique situation. It's just so many people get themselves into trouble because they rely on these online calculators, and just don't. They are a guideline. It's just like online home evaluations. They're all guesstimates, and seldom are they right. The industry rule of thumb is that you can afford a mortgage where your monthly housing costs are no more than 32% of your gross household income, and where your debt load, including your housing costs, is no more than 40% of your gross household income. And this rule is based on your debt service ratio. So if your spouse and you have a combined income of about $150,000, 32% of that would be $48,000 per year, which would mean that you would be able to afford a $4,000 a month mortgage payment. But you also have to consider how much debt you are carrying, because this is going to change your ratios. And this is where the mortgage broker is going to really help you when you sit down with them and figure out, okay, this is our combined income, this is what we're paying out, credit cards, car loans, etc. And if you need help, I have a free guide on how you can save $20,000 a year for your down payment. I know it sounds impossible. When I bought my first home for 2 years, I made a lot of sacrifices because I realized with the way things are, I was not going to build wealth, and there was no way that I could save that kind of money that quickly and keep up with homes. There's just no way. So what I recommend to everybody, and this hurts, this is not fun, but if you ask most people that own homes, it's because they sacrifice. No more lattes, no more eating out at restaurants, no more going to the movies, and putting that money aside and letting it build. And there's other free tips that I have as well. And you know what? A lot of these things you know. It's just not a lot of people are prepared to make the sacrifice. But I'm going to tell you, rents do go up. They go up every year. And sooner or later, you're going to find yourself paying more in rent than what your mortgage would be. And that is not fun. The other thing I want you to know is that buying a home was the best decision that I've ever made. And if you talk to anybody who owns a home, they will tell you it's the best decision that they've ever made. Your whole focus should be on saving money so that you can afford a down payment on a home. The bigger down payment that you have, the less your payment's going to be, of course. My wife and I now have $300,000 equity in our home, and there is no way we could have saved that kind of money. Do you know how satisfying that is to know that if there's an emergency, if you have to sell and you need that money, that is $300,000 is going to keep growing and growing, because I'm going to tell you, home prices are just going to keep going up and up and up. And with interest rates at a historic low, the time to buy is now. So there you go. Housing affordability is a rather complicated thing. Hopefully I was able to break things down, and I really do want you to know that your situation is unique to you. These numbers are going to all change once I get an opportunity to speak to you and sit down and figure out your unique situation. I hope I was able to break down the costs a little bit for you so that you could better understand. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. These videos are made for everyone, like I said, and so I have found in the past, even after watching these kind of videos, my clients still have lots of questions. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. And as promised, I do have some special offers for you. If you are buying a home, not only will I pay for your home inspection, as I said earlier, don't forget to ask me about my no-risk home purchase guarantee, where you can buy your dream home through me with 100% confidence. What that means is you don't have to worry about buying the wrong home in the wrong neighborhood and getting the wrong neighbors. Within a year, the warranty lasts for a year. If you decide this was the wrong home for you, I will help you sell that home free. I won't charge you my commission. If you are selling, this is another offer I have, I will help you pay for the paint, the handyman, home staging, carpet cleaning, and professional photography to help you sell your home, to help you get the most amount of money for your home as possible. I call that program Get Ready to Sell Your Home for Top Dollar, where you're going to save money on repairs and, like I said, all the other things that you need to do to ensure that your home makes a great first impression with today's home buyers, so that when we do sell, it's going to sell fast and you're going to get the most amount of money for your home that's possible. Whether you are buying or selling a home, my passion is helping others. For the past 17 years, I have prided myself on giving my clients honest, practical real estate advice that you can count on. If you need references, just ask. I have tons of clients who are willing to raise their hand and talk to you about their experience with me and either in buying or selling a home. And as I said, please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions that you have by clicking on the button. And as always, help is only a phone call or an email away. Have a great day. Bye-bye.